Hi, my name is Uoti, and I'm the lead designer of Bliaron 2nd Edition, a fantasy tabletop role-playing game of spiritual magic in a Bronze Age world. Today we played two combat scenarios that should enlighten how the combat works in Bliaron. The first one is a really simple example of how the system works. There's a little bit of background, but not much, and it's supposed to kind of get you in the system, how it works, what you're gonna do first, what you're gonna do second, and so on. It's a game example, it's not a rules explanation. This is an example what could help you to actually get into gameplay. The second example, on the other hand, is more of a mini story. It's a one encounter from the highlands of Saras, where we improvised a scene that we agreed upon that it should end up in some sort of a conflict, but we didn't know what kind of a conflict it would be. So the example of combat is also more broad in context, that there are more things involved than just rolling the dice and calculating the maths, how you lose the hit points and that kind of things.
Okay, hi. Let's play a few scenarios in Bliaron.
All right.
Some combat scenarios. These are all pretty quick, and all of them are kind of improvised. I don't know what's gonna happen, so let's see. Let's try to make some fun scenes, and these are all quite different. The first one is about two gods in Ningar in southern Bliaron, and there's gonna be some kind of a ruckus going on in a market. I don't know what's gonna happen, but you will be playing city guards in that scene, and let's see what kind of a combat we can make out of it.
Was Ningar the biggest city there?
Yeah, it's in southern Bliaron. It's the capital of the Bliaron.
All right.
So let's make some quick characters for you. So if you can open the online sheet for you, and you'll find upper right, you'll find a menu where you can pick a city guard from generate from concept button. If you can press that and
yes,
create these characters.
So
yeah, it should give you.
I'm gonna. Well, that was probably the fastest character creation in history. So I added the link to the chat, so you can open it from there. My character is now Webgol Kapolmiem, city guard, 31 years old, and he comes from the rural areas of Bliaron. He has a bronze armor and a wooden spear, and he seems to be some kind of a cultist.
Okay, that's interesting. If you have any spell casting or runesmithing, like magic skills, you should put them to 0 because we aren't using magic in this encounter. This is just like pure melee combat.
Yeah, well, I have spell casting of 1, but I'm gonna keep that because I'm a hidden cultist.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. How about Oskari?
Yeah, my character is Take Buckvaun, 47, and Horucian, so from the north, I guess, Garthanese religion, and not very, well, pretty strong, I guess, not very, not low willpower, no magic skills, seems to be well off and lucky, and has some kind of family heirloom, some kind of magical item. And
you can have that magical item, but let's keep that out of the play for this scene, just for the sake of simplicity.
All right.
If you can also post those links in the Slack chat, it'll help me a bit. I can open it easier that way.
Already.
Yeah, okay, so...
Yeah,
quick healer, so you have no trouble getting in fights, I guess.
Well, if you get away from them alive.
Yeah.
You're also lucky, so you can reroll any skill check. So if there's gonna be a situation where you get in trouble, you can whenever you can do it once.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Unarmed and melee, and yeah, it makes sense. So
Yeah.
all right, let's imagine a scene in a Ningar in the market area. There's gonna be some sand maybe in the air, and it's a really hot day going on. There are some people going around everyday business, and this happens in Oxenred district. So it's like a clansman district. So it depends on your background how you fit in there. If you're from Blivoni's background, maybe you watch the clansmen a bit like a lower caste, or so, you don't maybe really fit in that well. But if you're from Oskari, you were from different background, so different cultural background, so maybe
from the north originally, that culture, so maybe more familiar with the clansmen.
Yeah, maybe and well, one of you had a bronze armor, right?
Yeah, I had a partial bronze armor.
Yeah, so that will probably make you stand out from the crowd, because no one is wearing bronze armor there. It's pretty rare for normal city guards to have a bronze armor. It's pretty good equipment that you're carrying. So there's event going on. You kind of watch one market stall, and there's a I'm gonna generate some character over here. What's gonna happen? Let's pick a
Look at these clansmen. They come in here, and like back in my farm where I came from, they always stole some cattle. That's why I'm working now as a guard, to keep up the law.
Okay.
Well, they have their own ways.
So I'm gonna roll a few dice. You're gonna you see like a stall over there, and it's some kind of an artist selling place. There's someone selling paintings and sculptures, and like a clay sculptures and that kind of things. And the person selling them is it feels like there's some kind of trouble going on with the customer over there. But I'm gonna roll a few dice to see what kind of a encounter this would be. I'm just picking it straight from the book, what kind of appearance, behavior, and backgrounds this encounter has. So let's see what we get. So we get 5, 1, and 0. That means this wrinkled person as a customer, some really like probably old person, and he's aggressive. It so happens, that's 1, and 0. So that's 10. Let's see, personal stuff. Okay, so he's this old man has come to the artist's hall, and he's yelling to the salesman, the artist himself, that he has made a sculpture that threatens his own culture, and he isn't really happy about that clay sculpture. One of them in particular is he's yelling something about the sculpture, that it's really making him mad, and it's not part of this Blivoni's culture. The salesman, you can actually tell that he's a Khalith, so he's making some kind of a Khalith art, and for some reason this old man, maybe he has some quarrel with Khalith. You don't really know what's going to happen, but he's starting to really get mad, and he picks up the sculpture and smashes it into the ground, and this causes just like immense yelling. So there's not like physical contact yet, but
Hey, take. There's something going on in there. Let's check it out.
Let's go take a look.
What's going on in here?
you approach it, and as that happens, the Khalid jumps over the market stall and starts pushing the old man to the ground. It's my art. You can't do that. You
Break it up, you two.
You all are the same. Everyone is the same. I've been here for all my life. Everyone in this city hates me and my culture, and I will. He stands up and he starts to kind of be aggressive towards you too. And
Hey.
yeah.
Stands up. The old man is still in the ground. Or...
Old man is still in the ground, and this artist stands up and he starts to approach you too. He's really aggressive.
That's what I said, take. These Khalid scum always are causing trouble. No matter if you're in city or in the farm.
The person who was the old man over there, so he was he was on the ground, but now he's kind of behind the Khalid that is approaching you and yelling to you. So he's really annoyed about this attack that happened. So he has a hoe with him, and he pulls it from the belt and strikes the person to the back. So that's the first combat action that you really don't have much time to react on that one. So I'll roll that, and after that we'll see what everyone's gonna do. He's a pretty good fighter, actually.
Half craftsman, half ninja.
Yeah.
The hoe master.
He strikes with the hoe. It's not really like that big strike, but he gets like 3 points of damage. He gets 2 over the limit over here. I'm gonna give also 2 points of bonus because he kind of attacks by surprise from the back. So it's like 2 plus the weapon damage 1 plus 2 for my bonus. So it's 5 damage for the artist. So what do you do? There's gonna be a fight over here.
I'm going to try to wrestle the hoe from the old man and get him to, restrain him.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and try to help the old man away from the scene.
So okay, so you're Oskari, you're fighting the old man, and you're actually both attacking the old man, right? Right now,
Wait.
or you're kind of trying to defend him.
Which one had the hoe?
The old man, right?
And the art, and he hit the artist with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got it.
Yeah, the artist was approaching us and trying to be aggressive towards us.
Okay, and he was hit by. Yes,
Yeah.
well, yeah, probably because he was the attacker, so we're probably gonna try to calm down the old man.
Yeah, so you both kind of go over there. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. What's gonna happen when you approach? He's gonna keep fighting against the artist. He's not really concerned about you that much, but actually, he's not gonna hit you at all, even if he had the chance. However, the artist is also fighting back, so he will be fighting against the old man. So you can roll your strength or dexterity, and let's see who gets the
Choose
upper hand.
whichever I want.
Yeah, you can choose whichever you want. You roll that many d10 and add your melee or unarmed, depending on how you approach the situation.
Well, I
Yeah.
have strength of 4, so 4 dice, and unarmed is 4 also. So that's
Right. I roll dexterity, and I'm trying to maneuver so that we could get the hoe away from the that he wouldn't be hoeing around anymore. So I approach with dexterity. I throw 4d10, and the highest I got 5, 2, 2, and 7, and my unarmed is 5. So 7 plus 5 is 12.
Yeah. And in order to combat the hoe, if you want to get the hoe, kind of like disarm the person, I'm gonna give you modifier of 2, so you have to get 2 over the opponent's result in order to do that.
All right.
Should I roll for you, Oskari, or did you already?
I rolled 8 is the highest I got, so that's 12. 12 for the yeah. Well, I was basically also doing trying to get the hoe away from him, or maybe I'm restraining the guy.
Okay.
If my guard partner here is taking the hoe away.
Did you add your unarmed skill already to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
the final.
guys, we both got 12.
You both got 12. Okay. So I'm gonna roll for the farmer first. So I get 8 as the highest. I add unarmed. However, as you're 2 against 1, or actually it's 3 against 1, he gets -4 to this. So the final result is 9, what he gets. So you can easily wrestle the hoe from him, and you can also like wrestle that guy to the ground. However, what happens simultaneously is the artist, the Khalid artist, who's also fighting. So I'm now gonna roll for him. He pulls up a knife from the waist, a ritual knife. He happens to have like really decorative. Kind of, if you had the knowledge, you would kind of make it think that it's probably some kind of a demonist symbols in that artist's knife. So maybe the old man actually had a point. He gets 10 as the result. It's more than 9 for the character. So he actually manages to cut the old man with the ritual knife. So while you're holding the old man to the ground, the artist is actually at the same scene. He kind of manages to hit the old man with the ritual knife. The end result is that you have wrestled the old man to the ground. The artist is standing over there with a knife, and he's really agitated. Really, like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with that guy?
So he already cut him?
Yeah, he did.
Drop the knife.
Well, he looks at you for a while. Yeah, no, it's my. I never meant to do anything wrong. I just defended myself. He broke my art.
All right, back off.
He takes a few steps, and probably the resulting scene would be that you have to figure out how to deal with that damage that the old man did. He broke the artifact, the clay sculpture after all, and what happened. But you managed to calm down the situation, and this kind of ends this combat scene pretty quickly.
Didn't even need to murder anyone.
Yeah, it's not always necessary. You can do that in maybe next scenario.
Yeah, it's been some time since I last played Bliaron. So, for example, now that we're going to play we've been playing some Dungeons and Dragons, and the next one is the Shadowrun. So I like that we don't need to throw initiative and we don't need to throw attack and defense separately. So we only have like one throw, which defines what happens. It's I think it's a lot more flexible.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the next scenario?
Yeah, sure. What are
Okay.
we going to play in this one?
Yeah, so in the next scenario, you can pretty much pick any concept you want. You're going to be adventurous in Saras, and you have been tasked to find a person, probably a relative of you. We can figure it out over here, what kind of a task you have. And you can pick any concept. However, what's gonna happen is that when you approach the village, there's gonna be a situation where you end up in a fight, and you shouldn't use magic in Saras in order to show your strength, because magic in Saras is kind of, well, it's not that magic is prohibited or anything like that, but it doesn't bring you respect, and what you need in this next scenario is a win win with a respect, so you won't be.
Magic is like the coward's way.
Yeah,
Feeling.
kind of like that. It doesn't bring you any authority, and yeah, you're gonna need a character for that kind of scene over here. So you can generate any kind of character you want. Your character can have magical skills, but you don't necessarily need them.
Who are we retrieving or trying to find? What was that?
Would you have anything in your character sheets? If you generate some character, then would you have anything like cultures, religions, or perks that would give you an idea?
Well, I just pressed once. I got this Mudlark, which means I'm some kind of a beggar kind of guy. My name is Grimgol, and this guy seems to be quite crazy. I'm beggar, I'm delusional, and I have visions. Also, I'm a black hand, and I have sixth sense. So definitely,
Wow.
I'm following the path of the spirits.
Definitely.
So, Grimegol doesn't seem to be the logical kind of guy. He seems to be following some kind of higher force. So I will let that guide me in this scene.
Okay, what do you have, Oskari?
Well, I have Dire. I chose Saracen warrior as the concept. Seems to be pretty balanced with the attributes. Yeah, we had no combat skills at all, but he's huge and sadistic and has a chaotic aura.
So we make a great team.
Yeah, we could also generate new characters if you want, if you feel like those are not the characters you want to play with. But
This is definitely the character I want.
Yeah, it sounds interesting with the perks, but I would like to have some combat skills, I think.
Could you share those links to the Slack so I can also see the sheets?
Yeah.
But I like this kind of character creation. It creates so much different characters that I usually create because I'm usually set in my ways. So this guy is crazy.
Yeah, this one is really crazy. And lots of skills you can use in a combat scene. I think. Like
All
stealth
right.
and unarmed. Let's see.
So let's start with my sixth sense. Once per day, the player may ask whether this day carries unusual risk of death. Does it?
Yeah. When you approach the final day, when you're approaching this Saracen village, then you kind of have a really bad feeling about the whole day. Like the previous days have been okay. You have been delusional as always, but today it feels like this is probably gonna end up badly, and it happens to be the same day that you know that you're gonna arrive to the village, so you can draw your own conclusions of that.
Okay, can you still once repeat what was our task? What we're really doing?
Yeah. So Oskari's character is a Dair Vap Golmul, a deliveryman. So let's take something from the delivery maybe. So you've been tasked, probably hired by someone in Arton, someone pretty powerful in Arton, maybe a family black hand in a high authority position, maybe some great uncle or so. You might be related to that uncle, or you could be also beggars just looking for whatever work that comes. And he has hired you to get a person from this village. Apparently King Arton himself is interested from that, or so you've been told. That there's a kid in that village, the daughter of the village chief, and you have to get that daughter from the village and bring that character to the great uncle in city of Arton.
So we're kind of kidnapping.
You're kind of kidnapping, yeah.
Nice.
And you probably know of the local culture a bit, that Sarah's people of Sarah's value strength above all, and they are pretty well equipped. They are good fighters, experienced fighters. They don't necessarily rely so much on equipment, but they have the skills. And when I look at your character sheets, it's probably the straightforward method of just barging in and getting the daughter isn't probably the wisest one. So you have to probably figure out some kind of a clever way how to get the daughter out from there. But as we agreed, this is just an example of a combat scenario, so there will be combat. Don't worry about that.
Oh boy.
Okay. So
Dair, can you smell the wind? It brings ill omens. Death is near.
Oh, I'm having second thoughts. Are you sure we should?
For a big man like you always seem so squeamish.
you're standing on a hill and you're watching down to the valley, where you see a few tents next to a river, and you see some people strolling about, going over there. This is where you have this discussion.
The village is near, and we need to move. I think we should. These Saracen people, I've heard they're natural-born killers. So probably we should find a way to sneak about so they won't notice us.
Yeah. I would try to discern like what's the chief's tent or something like this, so we can, if we have a vantage point where we can see the village, so I can try to look for a route to get there as stealthily as possible, like an approach.
Yeah. It's daytime right now, and it's clearly visible. The visibility is quite okay over there. There's maybe a little bit of fog here and there, but it's pretty easy to see you from the distance. So they probably, if they haven't spotted you yet, there's like at least one like kilometer when you approach the village, and they can see you like almost all the time. So sneaking is possible, but it's not very easy way to get into the village so that they don't notice you. It's like open everywhere, no trees anywhere.
Okay.
And it's one of the tents is considerably bigger than the rest. It's in a central spot of the village. You could probably think it's pretty far, but you could probably figure it out that that could be the chief's tent.
Besides Sixth Sense, I do have vision. So once per day, the player may ask Game Master for a vision of the future. So what they told us is that Sarasians favor strength above all. So I was thinking like if I would just go in there and challenge their champion to a wrestle to get the girl.
Yeah. So your question is for the game master. Were you asking?
I'm just asking for a vision of the future. So I don't think I can ask a question. It's just a random vision.
Okay. So it happened this morning. It's kind of coming back to you that maybe a dream that you saw in a very late, very early morning, like just before you were waking up. You saw this giant of a person, like maybe 2.5 meters high, and really like the strongest guy you've ever seen. And you feel like you're in some central scene of the village, and you're probably gonna be. It looks like he's challenging you. He's ripping off his shirt actually at the moment, and taking like a wrestler's pose over there, and being like, I don't know, 2 times taller than you. You feel like this is gonna be interesting.
Well, I think the spirits, my religion is spiritual determinism. Spirits have already chosen my path. I'm going to kill a giant today.
All right. Well, you seem to be sure. Let's go then.
Okay, so you approach the village. The people do spot you quite early, and some kids in the village start running about, probably telling everyone that someone is coming. It's not really that common to have visitors here. So
I have a pretty good sleight of hand, so while walking towards the village, I'm taking some kind of like something sharp, something that I can use to cut, something like bone or a piece of my dagger or something, and trying to like I can maybe break it in two and take these kind of like armbands and slip it under an armband. So if I'm gonna wrestle him, so if I can get a vantage point, I can cut his throat or something.
all right. So let's say if you want to use your dagger, or also that's gonna be fine. But if you want, there are probably some really sharp stones over there. It's if you take just a bit of time to look for a good stone that you can use as an item, you can probably find one. So
Yeah. If my dagger works, then
yeah, you can
then
try to hide
I
it.
can, yeah. I can throw a sleight of hand.
Yeah.
So is it dexterity roll or intelligence or?
I'd go with something else than dexterity this time. Probably intelligence would be quite all right for this.
Right, with my intelligence 1. I'm rolling and it's 9. So 9 plus my sleight of hand is 4, so I get 13.
Oh, that's a pretty good success for that hand of yours. So
I'm gonna cut him.
you have some cloth, and you kind of make these armbands from that cloth. So it looks like that's a normal garment for you, and there's no pieces of the blade.
And
out
I'm following this vision also, so I'm already starting to oil myself under my clothes.
Oh yeah, that sounds clever. That sounds exactly what your character would do. And you come to the village, and people start to gather around pretty quickly. There's not a whole lot of people, though. It's maybe like 20 people in this village. And some people are probably hunting somewhere, and some people are doing their daily business and so on. But there are, especially children are gathering and watching you while you approach.
By the way, I have one of my perks is a tribal Saracen, so I carry the marks of a warrior tribe. So maybe something that they might recognize.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. The children start to look at your symbols, and they try to discern from what tribe you are, whether you're an enemy or perhaps you're a relative of them. And it happens that they are kind of. It looks like they are kind of wary of you. They are like pretty scared, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time before big person in wearing fur, like good quality fur and leather clothes, comes from the biggest tent. He has also a good quality bronze sword and jewelry made of teeth of animals, and also tattoos of a tribal Saracen warrior. He comes outside the tent and watches you and states that, yeah, and I want to greet you. I'm gonna generate the character quickly over here. So my name is Praibal Rigolvui, and I see that you have arrived at my village. I don't think this regards my last confrontation with the Bugami tribe. Does it? He watches at let's see, Oskari's church, Dair. So he watches at Dair and your tattoos. What is your tribe doing in my village?
I am here not on behest of my tribe. I'm here to escort your daughter to his uncle in Arta.
My daughter, you say?
Yes.
And what makes you think I will let you see my daughter? He watches you really strictly, really to the eyes. This is a challenge. You're probably trying to propose her daughter or something like that. He expects that it's a tribal culture that if you come from a neighboring village and you come to the village chief and ask for the daughter, it's probably you're seeking to marry the daughter. So he's really threatened by you, actually, and he doesn't yet buy this your proposition that
We are here
really doubting.
because King Artem himself has requested her. So I am here to challenge you because the spirits have told me that you will go down. I will tear off my clothes and take like a wrestling position.
Yeah, he watches at you. He spits to the ground. I'm not gonna fight a lowly peasant like you. You will first have to beat Omok to fight me. But I will accept that challenge if you can first beat Omok. We will set up a wrestling match tonight. You will both attend. and if one of you loses, you will leave this village forever.
We won't lose.
I doubt that. So we can skip to the evening. They will feed you pretty well. They give you lots of stuff to eat because they don't want you to be weakened in this fight, because that would be cowardly. So we can skip to the night when they've arranged a circle over there, and you both are in that circle. They've actually thought that you are not an opponent for Omok at all, and you will be fighting 2 against 1 in this combat, but no weapons allowed. So this is a wrestling match. So even if you have some weapons, you can't have them, unless of course you've hidden a weapon in your wrists. That's of course possible, but they are not like okay in this fight. You have to be careful if you use them in this fight. Probably better than
you said
being crushed.
It's evening. Is it already dark?
It's quite dark, yeah. The light that comes to the wrestling circle is from torches all around, and the whole village is gathered there to see this challenge of the chief. It also happens that if you win Omok, then he will definitely be respected a lot. But if you win the village chief, you will actually become the chief. That's how Sarasian system works, especially since you are from Saras. So it makes sense. I
was just wondering, I have this, one of my perks is night sight. No negative modifiers if it's dark. So I was just wondering if it gives me any advantage in this situation. Is it already so well lit by the torches that it doesn't really matter?
It's pretty well lit over here at this moment. However, this situation might change. So if let's say some of the torches get blown out, then you will get an advantage. I'd say so. So you're in the circle. It's a quite small circle. The ranges don't really matter here because you're so close. You're almost immediately in unarmed range. The Omok is boasting over there, really ripping the shirt off. This is exactly the scene that you saw earlier in your dream. Like exactly the same scene. Rips the shirt and really boasts, takes a wrestling pose and starts to look at you like, come to me. What are you gonna do?
Well, I think I'll start also by like intimidating him in turn, like maybe take off my cloak or something and show my warrior tattoos and sort of boast also to the crowd, but also to him.
Yeah.
Try to intimidate him a bit.
Okay. What are you gonna do, Tuomas?
I'm gonna start kind of like hyperventilating and getting myself into some kind of spiritual fervor. I like start smacking myself and screaming.
Okay, is that just your habit, or are you actually making a ritual at this moment?
I do have ritualism of 1, so I don't think it's anything that is kind of like that I know about it. So it might be something intuitive. So if it's possible, I could try to throw ritualism.
Yeah, if you're really into that, what you're doing, and you're kind of what are you doing? Like slapping yourself and throwing off some sand, or how do you do the ritual?
Spitting and screaming and trying to get myself into as big of a fervor as possible, to like that. I don't care about how big he is because he's going down, because I am the messenger of the spirits.
Okay, that makes sense. So you start to do that while Dair and Omok boast over there and gather the audience's crowd. This takes a while, in time, maybe 1 or 2 rounds, so you easily have time to actually do a small, quick ritual over there. Your sacrifices for this, you didn't really think about those sacrifices, so I'm gonna actually
Can I sacrifice some blood? My own?
yes, you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna bite myself.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So let's see. If it would be like level 1 or 2, then it's a level 2. So I will ask 4 hit points from you. So you actually like rip like a decent cut on your arm
All right. So
while this happens.
already pretty bloodied.
yeah.
So do I need to throw something or?
You don't need to roll a dice. However, what's happening is that from the ground itself, there starts to form like a pungent smell that kind of hits, and the kind of it feels like the air is filled with chili, and there's you feel like a spirit approaching this whole area. It's not the guardian spirit of this village, but this is rather something related to your own personal connection to the all that hate and fervor and that. So you see red flowing magical fumes rising from the ground, and also the pieces of dirt kind of start to float over there, and this spirit comes to help you and starts to actually like slap you and punch you into more agitated state, and it kind of forms one single unit over there also.
Definitely not sure if this is helping or hurting me.
Yeah, but it's helping. It's helping your popularity over here, because you've while you do this, it feels that you're more than just ordinary warriors, and this doesn't really count as magic. This is not formal like magic, like Sahin's magic. This is more like the spirits have came to help you, kind of stuff. So there's no immediate combat over there. Although Omak is really confused that now he has suddenly 3 opponents to fight against, and the third opponent is most scary one.
So, Oskari, did Dar throw for that intimidation?
Yeah, can I? I could.
You can.
Because it's kind of like one of those Japanese samurai fights which are ended before they start. So it's all about the setup.
Yeah. Roll charisma and add your intimidation.
Charisma is 2. Intimidation is 2. Well, I have huge. I don't know. Does it give any advantage? It doesn't say, so it's just some more hit points.
In this scene, you being huge doesn't help, because your opponent is
huge too. Right?
Huge too. Yeah.
Let's roll, and it is 10, and 10 is the largest. So 12, as good as I can get.
All right, that's pretty good.
Yeah. It happens that Omok is now not so sure of himself anymore. He's kind of taking steps back and waiting. What's happening? Looking at all of these magical fumes over there, and starting to get pretty like angry and threatened. He's about to jump. What are you gonna do?
I guess I'm just steadying myself, lowering my self to take a. Well, if he jumps at me, I'm just readying myself to wrestle him.
Yes, I'm trying to position myself a bit to the side. So if he's like focusing more to Dire, so I wait that he jumps towards Dire, and then I want to jump at his back and bite his neck.
All right, let's roll melee because Omok is charging against Dire, and you are prepared to do what you described.
Right. So this would be melee or unarmed.
Yeah. This would be unarmed.
Unarmed. Yeah.
I threw strength plus unarmed, and I got 4, 2, and 9. So 9 plus 5 is 14.
Okay. So my highest is 9 with 3 dice for strength and no unarmed skill. So it's 9.
Omok gets. I roll 5 dice, and the highest one is 6. That's like.
Well, he's scared.
Yeah, and I roll two ones also. So this is a really bad roll for me. However, the end result is still 11. So you got. Let's say it's 11, but because he was a bit scared, I'm gonna take 1.
And there's 2 opponents.
2 opponents, so it's 1 and 2, so it's 11 minus 3, it's 8. So Dire get 9 as the end result.
Yeah.
So what happens between you is that you get actually the upper hand, and you probably wouldn't have if he wasn't intimidated by the -1.
Yeah.
How about Raibol?
Raimgol got 14.
So you come from behind
and try to bite his neck, or like kind of like here.
Yeah.
Shoulder.
Yeah. You do that. You jump to the back of this giant. You have to climb a bit probably to actually bite the neck. While there's a decent wrestling going on between Omok and Dire at the same time, so you're kind of hanging on to the big giant while there's fight going on. Then you take a big lean backwards and bite the neck of Omok, and once you do that, the spiritual energy around you focuses into a small area exactly where you bite, and what happens is that it's like one level of destroy flesh matter and one level of create force. So what happens is that it bursts and destroys like more than your bite would actually do. It kind of like splatters the whole neck, and the force pushes also outwards from that place. So the final damage for your bite is 14 against 9. So it's
8. No, he got 8.
Oh yeah, 14 against 8. So it's 6. 6 for the bite. However, you also get 4 extra damage for the destroy flesh, so it's 10. And create force gives you +2.
That's
so
12 damage.
You do 12 damage by biting to the neck.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's like a whole splatter while you bite the neck of Omok, and
so it splatters on Dire's face also.
Yeah. It does. It's a strange scene. What happens over there? Now, actually, the wrestling doesn't do really that much damage. It does only 1 damage. You got only one more, Yeah, it's mostly like you're dripping so hard that he gets maybe a little bit of bruising over there,
Yeah,
but
is
he
it
doesn't
possible
mind.
to? Yeah, I was wondering if it's just wrestling. I don't really need to do damage. I could maybe try to just position him closer to the edge of the ring, or like.
Yeah, that's fine. We
Yeah.
can change that. You can still make the damage if you want.
Yeah.
But let's say
Okay.
you're having this small advantage, so it's I
Okay.
think that's decent if you can
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
position yourself better.
Yeah.
The spirit starts to fade away. That's the result of this ritualism that happened earlier. But the crowd goes like, "Wow, oh, they are gonna kill Amok." But not all, because they've seen fights where Omuk has been hurt, and he's actually really big. Even if there's like a bleeding big hole in the back of the neck, he kind of feels like that the whole neck is so big that it's only a part of it. So
Right.
we go to the next round. If you have any specific things you want to try, you can do those, or we can just continue.
Well, I
as
could
melee.
try to
Alright.
the next round to shove him out of the ring, or maybe against the maybe some of the torches or something like this.
Okay.
So I don't know if in this situation if it counts as any kind of winning to get him out of the ring, but in any case, it's like shows more prowess to be able to push him out.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a Saracen habit, especially in your tribe, that when you push your opponent out of the ring, that it counts as a win. It's humiliating to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same
And
as
push him
wrestling.
around.
Yeah, it's not the same as actually winning and being more violent, but it still counts.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm kind of well, Graham just has I think has done enough. So with bloodied hands, he just goes into the middle like he has already won. Just goes to the circle, middle of circle, and howls there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the people will chant at you. They will be yelling like, "Oh!" They're really cheering you. It looks like that you're winning,
Right.
and it's a really good move for the popularity over here. However, we also have to figure out what happens in the actual wrestling match. So let's roll the dice.
Oh, dire.
All right. Well, let's see. And well, yeah, I got a 10 with the 3 dice, so it's 10.
So it's 10. It's easy to count.
Yes.
So I got 9 as the highest result. Adding the skill, it would be 14, but he's injured. So I
It's
give
-2.
Yeah, -2. So we have 12, and he's also scared of this whole thing. I will give additional 1, so it's 11. 11 against 10. So what actually happens is that he starts pushing you around. Kind of, it's like a sumo wrestling match where you kind of push yourself and try to get the moment of.
With that, you said I had a small advantage. Did it factor in already, or?
Yeah, you did get the one.
I did give that. So you get 1 damage from this round.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It is mostly like cuts in your feet when you're pushed around the stones over there. It's not really a big deal. And Omuk is also. Some people are also cheering Omuk over there. But they are kind of. Some people are cheering Omuk. Some people are cheering Paraivu, and nobody is cheering Dire at the moment. But maybe they are also kind of seeing how the match goes.
Then, after the initial shock from the bursting, and I kind of, Grimgall already thought that he was kind of like dead, but they still seems to be going at it. So, so maybe I return to the dance, and they seem to be kind of like pushing each other this and that way, not really gaining any ground. So I'm gonna probably just trying to kind of like position myself again so I could kick that Omok, kind of like kick his kneecaps in. I do like to fight dirty. So.
Apparently, you have, I think, more sadistic tendencies that I seem to have, even it's in the character sheet. But yeah, I think I should also. I think I'll go for the neck wound that he has. So try to wrap that so that in some extra pain and maybe easier to.
Well, who's sadistic now?
Yes, well, let's.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you both a modifier of -2 for these special maneuvers that you're trying to achieve. If you succeed, though, you will be in control of Omuk, so that would probably count as the fight is over because you're kind of overpowering him. However, if you fail, the damage will be just calculated accordingly, so you might get injured more. You're taking a risk while doing these special maneuvers.
-2, but there's 2 against 1, so
yeah.
It evens it out.
Yeah, it actually evens that evens it out. But let's calculate as -2 for you also. Yeah.
So I got 7 plus 5, which is 12, -2, so it's 10.
Okay. Omuk gets 8 plus 5, 13 minus 2.
Minus
so,
4.
Yeah. Minus 4, for the damage. So it's 9 as the end result.
All right, so...
How have you died? What did you get?
I rolled, my highest is 8, so -2 would be 6.
Okay.
I got 10, because 12 minus 2 is 10.
All right. So what happens is that Omuk actually picks up Dair. It's a pretty big thing because he is huge also. You're like 2 giants fighting, and he kind of throws you around, throws you to the ground. He doesn't get a good choke or anything like that, but it's still... he got 9 and you got 6. So that's 3 damage as a whole. Okay. You kind of roll around for this maneuver as the result of that maneuver. However, the kneecap kicking, what happens at the same time is pretty effective. So while Omuk does the throw, you kind of jump in and with all your weight, you throw yourself at the knee which he's using to control Dair, and you actually break that whole knee. It really like snaps. The damage wouldn't be that much. It was like you got 10 and he got 1.
9, yeah.
9. So it's damage 1. I'm gonna add some extra damage because of that. I'm gonna add 5 extra damage for that broken knee. And what happens is that he falls to the ground, and if we would want, we could see how you probably kind of overpower him during the next rounds, because he can't really fight with that knee anymore, and that counts as a win for you, and you didn't even use any magic, as everyone knows.
Yes. So then I just stand on top of him and just bleed on him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then we'd probably have a wrestling scene of the village chiefdom if you'd want to do that, or probably this is enough of a show to get the daughter out from the chief's daughter out from the village. Which
Yeah,
he does
I don't think he wants to lose his chiefdom, so it's probably easier just to give the daughter.
give the daughter, yeah. And it brings you like a lot of respect. You like won the village giant, and that has never happened before in this village, so that's really a big deal. Okay, so that concludes that. Thanks for this scenario.
I really enjoyed that. I like this character creation thing because it does give quite unique characters.
Yeah.
Rhyme Goal was batshit crazy, stupid as a boot, but the spirits guide me.
Yeah, I like the stuff that it gives some meaning to these combats and meaning to these fights. It's not just rolling the dice and so seeing who gets the most damage, but there's a whole lot more to it in a fight. Should we play one more?
I think these two would be enough for today, and next week we could play the next two. So keep it short and intensive.
Yeah, that's great.
But hey, thanks. This was actually really
Thank
fun.
you.
Just demonstrations, but it's quite nice that we can easily generate these episodes, and you can easily generate from as a game master different kind of elements.
Yeah, these weren't like pre-designed scenarios. These were very heavily improvised, and I rolled also the characters over here for Omuk because I wanted him to be huge. I gave him a huge perk and strength of 5. But
other than that,
yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
So we randomized characters with the online character sheet tool and came up with this encounter, this scene. We followed the rules of improvisation, kind of accepting what people offer and trying to get along, trying to make decisions and go step by step further forward into the story. And this one turned out to be a pretty fun game. The example of combat is also more broad in context, that there are more things involved than just rolling the dice and calculating the maths, how you lose the hit points and that kind of things. We are gonna also film 2 more scenarios, one from spellcasting and another from more varied use of magic. So if you want to see more of those, you can also check them. Yeah, looking forward to also play some more of these games. It was really fun to film this video and hopefully it was fun to watch. So take care and see you next time.